So let us continue the Nash Therapeutics study for 26th June 2025. And there is an important remedy which every one of us have used in COVID, and Dr. Sankaran have also researched on it on having cured many cases of COVID. And this is the next remedy which Dr. Nash writes in his book Leaders in Homeopathic Therapeutics, which we shouldn't miss because it may be a rare prescription in certain acute or subacute cases, but it is a life savior. Camphora is the remedy which we will take up today. I vividly remember a case in the beginning of my practice. It was around 5 6 months of my practice, and I was called in to check a patient who had you know almost lost his vitality and was collapsed. And the pa- patient's relatives were worried about whether he will revive, or we'll need to take him to hospital, we'll need to take him to any doctor who gives saline and everything, because that is usually the norm in patients who collapse. And I, just by observing the patient, I scanned through a few remedies in my mind: arsenic, veratrum carbovage, and I was not getting any symptoms as such. The only thing which I knew was that he had passed 3 4 episodes of stools, which were in small quantity, but he collapsed after that. And he was a young patient, around 15 17-year-old boy. The parents of the boy, the patient's relative, told me that, what should we do? Please tell us immediately. And I told, let me at least examine the child. They told that there is nothing else, but he passed 3 to 4 episodes of small stools since morning, and he told he is feeling weak, and he went to bed and just he stumbled on the bed and didn't have the energy to wake up. I just touched him and he was cold as ice. That's where I decided either it will be camphora and or veratrum. Now, Dr. Nash in his book gives very interesting mention and difference about camphor and veratrum. If you are there till the end, you will get to know what is interesting and how I correlated this particular incidents with Nash Therapeutics, because that was the second time when I was reading Nash Therapeutics uh, as a memory builder and materia medica builder, you can say. So, what does Dr. Nash write from the beginning? Great coldness of external surface with sudden and complete prostration of the external surface, with sudden and complete prostration of the vital force. I think it's been repeated, but there is severe prostration of the vital forces. And the trio which is mentioned by Dr. Nash, he usually writes the remedies in groups of 3, groups of 5, groups of 2, because this is how he juggles with multiple remedies and tries to clinically differentiate it. So it's not that he focuses only on one remedy, but he also scans through other remedies and clinically important symptoms of those remedies. Camphora, cuprum, and veratrum are the three trio which are mentioned by Dr. Nash. Camphora has collapse with painless stool and even no stool at all. And veratrum has collapsed with profuse evacuations with cold sweat on the forehead. So when I was looking at this case of mine in the fifth or sixth month of practice, and there were 2 to 3 episodes of stool in this boy, and he just collapsed on the bed. When I touched him, he was cold. I decided that camphora would be the remedy of choice rather than veratrum. So both will come very close to each other. In clinical prescriptions, you will have to decide whether there were profuse evacuations or very less evacuations. Profuse evacuations, veratrum album; less evacuations, camphora. Even painlessness or no stool at all, Camphora is there. Veratrum will have profuse evacuations with cold sweat, especially on the forehead. The body will also be cold, but it will be mostly on the forehead, which will be icy cold. In my patient, I found the entire body was cold as ice. And the patient will not want to be covered because he is unwilling to take covers, and how much ever cold he is, he will never pick up that covering or will not allow the relative to put on the covering. You will find this in certain cases. In fact, one case which I remember very vividly, a case of gangrene, and I had gone to a home visit, and I didn't knew what would be the remedy, which materia medica will give me this remedy, but I was always carrying this bogus synoptic key. And when I went in to check the patient, he was sitting under the fan with a handkerchief on the gangrenous part. If it would have been camphor, it would have been uncovered. If it would have been sickle core, he would have some sensation. But it was not either of these two remedies. If you wish to know the remedy, you will find it somewhere in my post, or maybe if it's not there, I'll post it sometime later with an interesting, uh, you know, case profile. So in camphora, the patient will not want to be covered, and sickle coldness and camphora coldness is very much similar. There is a very beautiful description of a Dr. Rubini of Naples who treated 52 cases of cholera with camphora, and this gave the prediction of Hahnemann beyond question. Last but not the least, it's a small remedy in Dr. Nash's Therapeutics. The materia and the book's knowledge and the therapeutics knowledge of Dr. Nash was also evolving at that time. So we'll not have much in this book. There will be some other books which we will have a lot of content. In fact, nowadays we also have the sensation aspect and also the metaphorical aspect and all, which may or may not lead to the remedy, but the physical generals will always lead to the remedy, physical particulars will always lead to the remedy. Collapse with cold surface, aversion to heat, this will be there in all the cases, whether it is cholera, pneumonia, bronchitis, skin troubles, etc., etc. And exposure to intense cold or traumatic shock will be one of the key features or the causative factors in camphora cases. And as we see in the book Leaders in Homeopathic Therapeutics by Dr. Nash, he has mentioned the dosage also in certain remedies, which is very important because it is the beginners who struggle with the dosage, with the repetition, and all. For camphora, Dr. Nash gives us tincture to the highest potency. Now, for the highest potency, it would be something like 10 m, 50 m, and cm also for him, because in many other cases, he has given the mention of large and high potencies, but single dose. That's all about camphora, but there is much more interesting if you stay tuned with Homeo Setu. There is an announcement coming soon in the month of July. So stay tuned, and we will definitely uh, build all homeopaths and their knowledge of homeopathy through a revolutionary method and technique and technology. That's all. Stay tuned.